Let us now head to the Volta region, where the increase in cost of rent in parts of that region is pushing tenants, especially students, to the brink as the cost of building materials skyrockets. Struggling manufacturers cite high import duties, raw material shortages and production costs as key challenges, forcing landlords to increase the cost of rent. Students and industry players are calling for urgent government intervention, including affordable housing projects and incentives for local manufacturers to ease the crisis. ChannelOne News' Volta regional correspondent Desmond Salasiago has more.
Rent prices in parts of the Volta region are steadily increasing as factories that supply or manufacture building and construction materials struggle with significant challenges. Students in universities across the region have been particularly affected as they struggle to secure affordable accommodation. The high cost of rent has become a growing burden, with some students being forced to live in overcrowded spaces or commute long distances due to a lack of affordable housing near their institutions. The rising cost of raw materials, compounded by high import duties and taxes, has pushed production expenses up, forcing landlords to adjust rent prices to recover their investments. Many have called on authorities to initiate affordable housing projects to ease the financial strain on students and low-income earners. Some students and landlords who spoke to ChannelOne News called for more raw material factories in the region to supply manufacturing companies with adequate materials.
I think most landlords in Ho are gaining notoriety for increasing rent exponentially, because across Volta region, Ho is the only place that when you come, the rent that we mentioned to you is very exorbitant. To we the student, they make it as business as usual. When you come and you mention the rate and you don't want, someone to come for it. I can tell you that where I am, last year I paid 4,200, only for me to be told that the rent will be increased to 6,000 without any explanation, without any renovation at all, which I find very, 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 very worrying as well, because your rent is even more than your school fees as well. In fact, this is my fourth year in Ho, and I've spent close to 35,000 on rent.
The government can fund hostel projects for students, because most students just come here for school and go back. Only few that stay in Ho after school. So the government can invest in housing projects basically for students, to release the pressure on students getting higher rent or housing facilities. So in that way, it will release the burden on the students. And also, the government should empower local manufacturing industries.
In order that we can lessen the burden of tenants in our homes, there's a need for us to look at reducing the cost of building materials such as cement, steel, and the rest. We know that because of deforestation, most of the wood materials or wood pieces that we use are destroying our environment so massively. So if there is any way government can come in to help the steel industry to produce more steels for our roofing, to reduce the cost of cement and other building materials, I think it go a long way to help landlords to reduce or subsidize rent.
They also want policies implemented to regulate pricing and allow for more employment opportunities at the manufacturing companies.
The stakeholders or the authorities, what they would have to do is to lower the import duties and taxes to allow the local manufacturers to buy more of the raw materials. And even in that case, the transportation cost must also be taken care of, because high transportation costs would affect their raw materials, the cost of the raw materials. So that should also be considered.
They should enforce the rent control law in all the landlords, that anybody who contravene this law should be dealt with without any mercy at all. So government should also look at Volta region, because we don't have any factory by that manufacturer, maybe roofing or something, but they should bring so that at least the landlords can equally go there in terms of renovation. They can get it without even going to Accra again, and also coming to, because remember that all the expenses that have been made, they will channel all those monies to the consumer, which is the tenant as well, and the students.
Local manufacturers, particularly those in the roofing and cement industries, have raised concerns over the unavailability of essential material on the market. This scarcity has driven up production costs, making it more expensive to build new structures or renovate existing ones. Some manufacturers in the region spoke to ChannelOne News on their concerns as they fear their businesses might collapse.
When you look at our raw material that we use for our products, it's very expensive, so we are actually calling on the government to reduce the import duty so that at the end of the day, it was the customers that bear the cost, or that at the receiving end that will suffer most.
Mostly we import these materials from China, and then at times when they get here, the cost at which you clear them from the port is at times twice or thrice the amount you even bought the items out there. So at the end of the day, when you come to do your calculations and all that plus tax, definitely who bears the cost? The final consumer.
They also lament their inability to employ more workers and called for support from government to tackle the unemployment problems in the region. They also called for the quick implementation of the 24-hour economy policy to enable manufacturing companies to produce in large quantities. With the high cost of living steadily rising, stakeholders are calling for swift intervention to prevent further strain on residents. Reporting for Channel One News, my name is Desmond Lasiago.